So that's flexy for them too. I mean, with the Bane, we know that Jara is now just a core. But yeah, the Sand King, we don't know if that's going off lane or mid.
How much do you want to hedge your bets that it's going to go mid?
I'm
I would like
hedging
it
it goes
off
off
lane
lane,
now.
but
Yeah.
I do think Terrorblade actually wins for Sanking because like you're playing around the caustic, and the one thing Sanking is very very vulnerable to is getting, you know, level 1 just like clicked, and Terrorblade is very good at that. Whether you get meta or just I don't know, reflection. Yeah, that's the name of it. I just call it a Q. Us pro players don't know names of spells. But like you can just like click him out of the lane where he can't even get the caustic running. So it depends. The Bane might be able to alleviate that a bit. I normally see TB crush Sankings, so I would still wouldn't mind it if they potentially do Sanking mid, as long as like they know there's like a DK mid or something. I don't think Sanking will be very fun versus DP. That does sound awful.
DP or tree sounds kind of sad. Just supports that hurt.
Yeah.
Oh.
Where do you want to see a lot of Neon's heroes? Like, where are you expecting those 4 to be placed, position-wise?
I think TB will be a carry. That's my bold prediction.
Whoa, thank you, Fia. You know what? We can always count on you for the most insightful information.
All I know is that they're gonna last pick Huskar jungle on Neon.
All I know is Tree is a support.
Yep.
And TB's a carry, and they're gonna flex it to the end here, and they're gonna decide. Because
Okay.
it's really hard to know, because like the T1 hasn't shown either, because potentially there is a Sanking mid, in which case they wouldn't want to put DK there, because Sanking is pretty good versus melee heroes, especially in that matchup.
This is a banging Zeus game for T1. They have no jump for Zeus. No jump for Zeus.
I mean, you're not wrong. It's fine.
It's fine. Let's go!
But do you want to pick Zeus?
I was gonna say, how viable is Zeus in this patch?
Storm is banned. TB is on the enemy team. It's a Zeus game.
Really?
I mean, all I know is that in the Mineski Masters Grand Finals, Yopaj played Zeus, and he had like 24 kills and like 1 death and like destroyed the game. And ever since then, I've been like, you know what? I believe in the Zeus. It was a few months ago, his last patch. But like, Zeus has only gotten stronger in going into this new patch, so.
Okay.
I don't hate it. It is definitely a TB counter. You think of like Tinker and Zeus if you want a hard counter. This Terrorblade. Is there Lesh's banned? Yeah, Storm's banned. Those are also good ones. I honestly don't hate it. I really don't. Nice. They got good stuns with the Sanking and Bane. It could be pretty fun unless they want to go a route of like a Dark Seer and put the Sanking mid, which I also wouldn't dislike.
It's a shame they would only have Sand King to like kind of shell up. I know you can like play without it, but
I mean Gyro's not the
Boo!
worst.
Boo!
Yeah.
That's boring. God, they picked a Spirit. They took the whole reserve time down to 3 seconds just to pick a Spirit. They're spitting in the faces of all of us.
I think you were the only one that really wanted Zeus.
Everyone wants Zeus. Who doesn't want Zeus?
Would not have liked the Zeus there. I just don't really like Zeus this patch, personally. I think he was much better last patch.
Why?
Just the way he plays.
What do you mean just the way he plays? He hasn't changed.
Didn't he get a change to...
He got a jump.
Yeah,
he got a mobility, but that doesn't change how he plays.
He does a little bit.
No, it does. It makes him better because he doesn't die as much.
It's true, but it's okay. Like there's no Zeus this game.
That was offensive.
You're gonna have to cope.
Sure.
But there is one more pick still, and this lineup for OB Neon is still very much so press an ultimate and stand in front of a tower. Like they need something that can get on the back line. Like whenever I play TB, it's like, please, I will carry the game. Just stun them for me, right? Yeah. And they're kind of missing that. They kind of need a spirit themselves too, if they can get one. Well, I mean, what's left? Ember. That's it. Honestly, Ember is pretty good though. Versus the Void Spirit. I wouldn't hate it and just put the DP on 5.
Be a nice puck as well, honestly.
Yeah, or they could just do DP mid and just try to win the lane. That's fine. Throw the DK offlane and pick a position. Probably 4, I would imagine. Depends on where you want to put your Treant. Not a big Treant specialist. I know some 4 players love to play it, but...
What a great silencer game, honestly. Just hit down the silence, no grip, cancel reload. Shifkisu.
I mean, yeah, it's not that bad. It's really annoying for heroes like Void Spirit if you get the curse on them. As a support, that's not too bad. They do definitely... doesn't fit the criteria if I want them to have a stun, though.
technically being silenced is a stun because
No,
you can't do
it
anything.
is not a
It's just
stun.
you can't do
Is
anything.
this not just the same argument we had last
Yeah,
time
the
about like
lockdown one.
the lockdown? It's like the root. If a root is a stun, it's not.
Dude, I'm throwing out great suggestions, and these teams are laying me down. They're probably gonna
feel-
last pick like Ancient Apparition or something. just to
DK
spit on
has
me
to
again.
like literally stun everyone this game.
Yeah.
That's rough.
I love Hoodwink. What a great last pick. Thank you,
It's
Neon.
also got a stun in it. So I'm gonna bring in Ares and Danog to talk about this. But also, what do you guys think of Zeus? Just as like an offhand comment that just
Popped into
totally
the brain.
random new question that I would ask
I like
Danog.
Zeus.
Yeah.
It was like
Wrong answer.
I love
most
Ares.
played
Danog.
hero for a long
No-
time
no more
before
A-
Wyvern
no more
came out.
Danog. Ares?
What's your opinion?
Yeah, well, I thought the Zeus was going to be picked. That or
No,
Tinker.
all right.
go!
Ares also stop talking.
Let's go!
No, before you guys, which team are you favoring a little bit more in the lineups?
They both provide very different things, right? Like Neon have insane team fight, T1 have very good pickoff, and I'm just a little bit worried about how they're going to convert that into other objectives on T1's side. I also think T1's better than Neon.
Okay,
I'll say
that's
Neon.
fair. All right. Ares?
Quickly, I'm just concerned. I think Neon if they can ball up and take towers, then that's a big advantage. But T1, if they can split up the map, they've got a lot of mobility and catch them off guard with their low cooldowns. Could be an issue for Neon.
Alrighty, I'm not going to ask you guys about the game predictions.
Nice.
Instead, how many bounty runes do you think each team's going to get?
After the whole game or
No, the whole game, yeah.
whole game?
What?
16? 16.
Great. 16? Yep.
We even track that?
Each team or what?
Just a number for our team.
Okay, then we're going to have 60 bounty runes in total for both teams.
I like
There
it.
you
That's
go.
great. Ares and Dana will leave you with the same question as we head into game number 1.
I don't even know how I would provide an answer. I'm just saying a random number at this point, so I will go with 34. Let's just chuck a number out. I'll go in the middle between Sheep and Fear. I'm happy with that.
What did Cheapo say?
16, I think.
Okay, 35. Now, I think that this is going to be a close series because it means a lot, right, for both teams for different reasons. You know, OB Neon with who they've got left to play. I believe it's Enigma Galaxy C is one of the other teams that they've still got to play after that. And if they lose this series, that means that series is just so much more important. It could be the one that forces tiebreakers. And of course, T1's still in the running for sure for one of those top 3 spots to be able to go to the major.
Yeah, T1 at the moment. We've got 4 teams tied on top, Fnatic, Polaris, T1, and Team SMG with 3 wins apiece. So if T1 can take this series, then they would put themselves in first position. You're saying, it's
The
that
loss.
run.
With the
yes,
loss.
with the loss, but that loss was against
Polaris.
So they still have to verse Boom, and they still have to verse Fnatic. So 2 out of the 4 teams we just mentioned that are fighting to make it to the major. So still a difficult road for T1, but this is where they can start. And like you said, for Neon, it's really the road for them just to stay in Division 1.
Yeah, for sure. It could be kind of like my old background, everything on fire if Neon have to lose this one, because then you're kind of putting your hands in a lot of these other teams. You would have to say that Neon aren't really favored to pick up some of their remaining games. The only series that they've won was in a 2-1 fashion against Execration, who are currently winless, right? So it's a little bit of a dicey situation for sure as we get underway. I did actually like the Zeus suggestion. We were also thinking Tinker, we were thinking Puck, Monkey King, Hoodwink, I suppose, kind of fulfills that similar sort of role with vision and follow-up for the catch. I'm not sure how, like... Zeus is good when you've got static field, right? But it just feels like you're going to need to wait for another timing with the Aghanim Shard now, that it would be a little bit less effective. But I feel like I like Neon's draft overall.
I'm really in 2 minds because I feel like Neon, if they can get past 20 minutes where they don't have a net worth deficit, then that's where the cooldowns get very difficult to punish. I'm just concerned if they can get there. I guess it's all on the lanes and how both sides can set themselves up. So do you feel like one team is a little bit more favored in the laning stage than the other?
I wouldn't personally think so. I mean, Neon should have a very good mid lane with Avatar mode, be able to out-sustain Carl. A lot of the damage that he's doing is going to be that magical, so the Resonant Pulse isn't going to assist too much with it. I do like, though, that T1 went and bought a Quelling Blade on both Cuckoo and Zephyr, just to make sure that there are no trees for Arbang to look to play with.
said Neon, right?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that I'm also concerned about is this Io and this Bane, they do not farm at all. You need to be getting kills from like pickoffs, and you know, you're great at being able to do that, but it does feel a little bit lackluster when, you know, you've got things like the Treant who's capable of just sitting on in a lane and being able to push that out if you need the Terrorblade to rotate through to the jungle, which of course he's one of the best carries at being able to do so. And hell, even a Hoodwink is okay at it when you get to an eventual stage with more points in the Akon shot and the Bushwhack.
The Hoodwink was something that I was actually thinking about in regards to T1. With the combo that we see often, Gamers Galaxy, it was the Sand King and Hoodwink to deal with the Death Prophet. But we saw the Bane picked up in response to kind of the combo there. And do you like this lane though? Like a Cuckoo Sand King with a Zephyr Bane? Is this a lane where they can do much to penalize Astra? As actually first Metamorphosis of the game, they're going to continue to chase down Cuckoo. A bang with the boots, but won't deal the damage required.
I don't think so, personally. Like, you've got the Bane, of course. He still does that pure damage with the Brain Sap, which is going to be nice. But I'm worried about for later on for T1, right? Because, to me, I feel like they're lacking in damage. You have 5 heroes that are very hard to kill on Neon's side. And I just don't know if they've got the right heroes to address that. Like, yes, you've got a Gyro who's going to become mega farmed because you've got an Io assisting him. But I don't think we've seen any stacks built up yet, and that, of course, is such a key component to a Gyro being able to accelerate his farm.
You also get to see a Death Prophet played as in the position 2 role, which very excited about. I think the most recent one I saw was Moon, and he looked exceptional in the Death Prophet. Of course, we're getting a lot more of the DP3 and DPS5, but do you feel like this hero, is he best suited to those other roles instead of 2, or is this still a really strong place for him to be?
I think it's a really strong place. It just depends on the game, right? Like, what are you looking to play around? And for this game in particular, they're just like, okay, we want to go these nice early timings. I think this game in particular as well is very important for TV and the positioning of his illusion, by the way. He wants to try and deny away this water rune if he can. As they're actually looking to try and get a little bit more aggressive onto Carl. Okay, what? Well.
Wait, that was so much damage. I was not expecting the Crypt Swarm to do that much to take away the life pool of Carl, but first blood given over to Neon.
And he used his TP for that as well, so he's going to take a while until he comes back out to the lane. This is a huge pickup for them.
Astra's in trouble top. We saw that the rotation from a bang to the river, so Astra's going to have to rely on the magic 1 charge.
The
but
body
great
blocks.
Positioning from Zephyr. Blocks the avenue, but a bang with the movement slow. Astra's going to cut through the trees, and no way. What? All right, Neon, you're off to a flying start.
Absolutely. They're loving how things are turning out so far, even denying half a wave to that Harpy camp. So things going pretty well for Astra up here, and now that Abang's been able to rotate back, he can't just go for that dive anymore. It's nowhere near as comfortable. And Zephyr, you did a great job of cutting away all of those trees for the first few minutes, but Abang's got plenty to play around to get a ton of harass in onto you now.
The shining spot for T1 is his bottom lane. Gabby, top of the last hits, but Enryu is still having a really good time as well in the Dragonite. And I know Sheep's spoken a lot about how she's a really big fan of the DK in this meta. Do you kind of replicate her opinion on the hero?
Oh, of course. It just feels like it's good at everything these days, right? Good, solid right-click damage for trading in the laning stage. You can use the Breathe Fire and the Dragon Tail to assist that even further. Got decent pick-off with an instant stun. You're very tanky. You can take towers. Like, what isn't there to like?
Yeah, we saw... Was it Animajor that the Dragonite was just getting picked up a ridiculous amount? We saw a lot of the flex to the 3, but the 2 as well, and it feels like now with that shard was something that really revitalized the hero as...
Mid lane. This is that early timing that I was talking about. You've got the siege creep, you've got the exorcism. You just want to put pressure onto these lanes so that you're able to invade the enemy triangle and take away a lot of that Gyro's farming capability.
And what do these supports do to the early aggression? So you got Jing along with a Bang moving mid, and a Train Protector and a Hoodwink early are very scary compared to a Bane and an Io in a kind of small skirmish area.
They were honestly so close to being able to kill Carl there. Jing was just slightly off the mark with his Bushwhack. With the Exorcism going plus those 3 points in the Crypt Swarm, I think it would have been enough.
Look at this though, they're moving the bot instantly. They know Enryu's about to hit level 6. They want to try and kill off Enryu before he gets to this mark, though. With the help of Zephyr TPing down, Gabby's got 3 points in the Rocket Barrage, so the magic damage should be enough to take away the life of Enryu. That's a big kill for T1. You can just slow down this next tower. It was potentially under threat if they even had the Death Prophet join them.
He doesn't this time around, so I feel like it's okay for OB Neon. He still didn't use the Elder Dragon form though, right? So things looking alright for OB Neon, and Whitemon was the one to get the kill. I mean, the important thing, like I said during the very start of this game, is that it feels like you've got so many different avenues to hit towers on OB Neon, and you've got one on T1. No hero is going to do it other than this Gyrocopter. So now that you've taken away that big safety net of the mid tier 1 tower to be able to bring in reinforcements, they're just looking like they're going to try and put a little bit more pressure onto the Gyro himself so that he can't even get enough farm to be able to then go and look to farm away.
Which could be very concerning for T1 because you're also against a Dream Protector. And this is a hero that thrives at being able to keep towers online very early. And if you can't use the catapult perfectly, as Jing gonna go down bottom. Although the missile is continuing the hunt. See if Gabby can close the distance, and with the tether movement speed, he can do just that. So, no, T1 get another kill.
Position 4, Bane. He doesn't care about KSing. He needs that gold, baby.
And concern, though. Oh, what do we look?
Carl just able to pick up that arcane rune. Avatar mode was about
He's
half a step away.
And then Aster is free farming. He's already back in the jungle, level 7. Working towards the Dragonlance, and at the stage, Terrorblade is definitely going to have a scary stage in the game where he can be bursted pre-Skadi and I think BKB. But with how much farm he's getting, he's going to hit that timing pretty rapidly.
I mean, but how do you do that, though? You need, like, the perfect Blick Epicenter to do it on Cuckoo. You need a very farmed Void Spirit, which he isn't at the moment. So, still feel like Aster's going to be in a relatively okay spot. But they do have that level 6 as well. Enryu just pushing this lane out. He's joined there by the smoke coming through from Avatar mode as well as Jing. And you could just look to use this second Exo to be able to take that tower. Maybe trying to bait someone in first. Nah, they're just going to full on commit. Why not? They're lacking damage still. I don't think Cuckoo really wants to rotate through just yet.
Seems like your way to initiate's all on Cuckoo getting that next item. So it's going to be on the 4 other heroes at T1. He can always TP down if they feel like the fight's necessary. Well, he's going to do just that. Because look at the backstab from Zephyr. He's going to be in a position to block the retreat avenue, so Neon's just going to stand their ground. Cuckoo falling low, but he's able to reset, and Carl jumps in. Mass amounts of AoE damage. The Avatar mode drops under the pressure, and now they can turn their attention to Enryu. Stuck in the tree line, the overgrowth giving him some breathing room, as Carl still doesn't have the ultimate available, but he lands a perfect Aether Remnant. As 2 for 2 trade at the moment. Jing trying to scurry out to the western side, and he will make it. And they're going for this with the relocate. All right. Still got an astral step back up for Carl, but it's going to miss on the combo. Goes to the high ground instead with the dissimulate. And now he does have the arcane to play with. So Carl, his abilities will be up shortly, but it's a beautiful word we like to say in space, as you've got Aster farming across the map. And you also have all the other heroes back alive. So you defend the tower on T1, but you don't get much out of it.
They get 3 heroes from it, 2 of them being cores, but the important thing is your Gyrocopter died and your TB did not. So even though Gabby was able to get, I believe, 1 of those kills in that previous engagement, it's still going to be a ton of extra net worth, a ton of extra experience, more importantly. I mean, this TB is now 2 levels ahead of the Gyro.
And I think the also important thing, not that just Gyro died, but also Sand King, he chose to TP bottom instead of playing his own game to try and farm up the blink, which he probably would have had by now. You know, he just went back to the triangle, farmed an ancient. He's going to give a stack over to Gabby. So they're putting a lot more emphasis on the Gyro farm instead of this early blink on Cuckoo, which I think they really need to follow up with Carl's jump.
The first stacks that I've actually seen on T1, and Gabby, to his credit, is able to take them pretty quickly, but this time around, actually, okay, they get the deny on the bottom tower. It is much more worthwhile. As, yep, now it's just that farm assist coming through from Whitemon here. I did like the hold on the TP coming through from Abeng as well. He made sure he was constantly having vision of Cuckoo, and he only made the TP down to that bottom side when the Sand King did that as well. So otherwise he would have just sat up here and farmed, which, again, it's another strength that I was talking about with Neon's draft, right? You've got these supports that are both very capable of getting a lot of farm on their own, and, you know, not even withholding something from their team, I suppose is the best way to put it, right? Because you could still have impact with the living armor. You could still join relatively quickly if you TP in with the extra speed that you get from tree walking.
Have thoughts on Abeng's item build with the Veil?
I don't hate it. I mean, a lot of these heroes, like, you've got a Gyro, right? And he wants to farm, and he needs farming items to do. So he's going the second item BKB, but I feel like there aren't really that many heroes that want to build into that right now on T1. It's all about survivability and initiation.
They are going to run it to Cuckoo top. Exorcism committed from Avatar mode, and they will easily take away the life. Yeah, all right. Very nicely done. But what's happening by the triangle is Asta's caught out. Gets the meta now with a relocate onto the backline, but the meta really does nothing without anyone to be able to protect him to have the damage. But now the reinforcements have shown up as a relocate. A couple of seconds. Can they keep the Gyro alive long enough? They will not. As Io gets out to safety, but Gabby will end up dropping the same location as the Terrorblade dies.
It just feels like they're getting the better part of all of these trades. I know the kill scores in favor of T1, but have a look at the net worth. 2k lead at the moment to OB Neon. It's much more even across the board for a lot of their cores, whereas it feels like a big majority of it is isolated onto the Gyro right now.
They might be able to take top knowing Exo's on cooldown. You used Elder Dragon form. There's no meta for the Terrorblade to maybe think about even showing up. Oh, I like this from Dire. They're going to smoke, but T1 have already started onto a bang. Cuckoo forced to drop the ultimate just so they can kill off the tree protector before the cavalry arrives.
What's he doing stepping out of the trees? That's the whole point of a tree protector, is that you could just launch out the Nature's Grasp from there.
That's the blink reveal from Enryu.
Time.
Yeah. See if they stick around.
Able to do up here. Yeah, he doesn't have the scurry available to be able to, you know, play around those trees and draw the aggro away. But again, this is the big strength of that tree protector. As soon as he's alive, he's going to toss that living armor up there, make the rotation back. This is what he should have been doing the first time, just making sure to layer out that Nature's Grasp from the safety of the trees. So at least if they commit, you've got that TP rotation potential because they're playing around this big unknown area.
Cuckoo. Gonna get stunned up, but a couple of heroes behind him. You see how hesitant Neon are, and looks like they will give up their first tower of the game. So pre 15 minutes in, T1, this is going to open up the map, and they might smoke off this actually. Now they're going to TP across. Back to farming they go.
It is a loss that they really shouldn't have had to take, though. I don't want to emphasize it too much, but this is... It takes away a good portion of the jungle now that the TP can farm. Yes, he's at the stage where he can look to play on the enemy side of the map and take his own triangle consistently every single minute, but yeah, there are other heroes in the game as well that need to be farming, and now you don't have quite as big of a safety net for that.
Looking at a very early BKB on Gabby. They already got the Chrysalis, just that one farming item that the Gyrocopter likes to go early, and to another team fighting item. So it looks like T1 really want to ramp up the aggression as soon as this is completed. And this will be before Asta's BKB. So there is definitely a window for T1 to start to win a couple of fights and stall out the map and really put Neon under the pump.
And my main question is, what is Neon going to do, right? Because it feels to me like they've had this Elder Dragon form, they've had the Exorcism for a couple of minutes available now. Maybe just wanting to wait for the level 2 on Avatar mode. So they'll shove out this siege creep wave, and then they'll look to make a smoke of their own.
So you feel like Neon are in a position, though, that they have to do that? Because I feel like you can just wait for T1 to come to you. You've still got all your towers up. You're okay with that. Getting T2 towers at this stage is very difficult.
You want to wait for that BKB, though? I'm not quite so certain. They're going to get Whitemon for free. That's not who you want, though.
It's not who you want. It's not a heavy, I guess, Elder Dragon form. Enryu's going to use his time to get towards the Aghanim Shard, which now will give him a lot more farm across the map. You are right. Like, do you really want to wait for Gabby's BKB, which he now has completed? But I feel like Neon, I'm personally favored him at the later stages if they can get there. And I feel like, I said, I think 20 minutes in, it needs to be T1 with a decent net worth lead. Of course, we are 3 minutes before that mark, so it's soon to be go time for the lads on Radiant.
Yeah, they've done well so far on Neon, that's for sure. Get a good laning stage transition, making sure they were killing the gyrocopter early on, but despite that, again, it's paired together with an IO, so it's going to be the highest net worth farm in the game. The thing is, though, that TB is very close behind.
Radiant's top tower
Don't have the greatest vision on Neon. It's a lot more of it placed around top. It's going to be off the back of a bang to try and block the smoke maneuver into the triangle, but Asta still without it. Instant jump from Kuku, and they'll have plenty of damage before any other hero shows up. And, well, they'll even run into the Hoodwink as well. Jing just revealing his position at the front of the secret shop, so a double for Kuku.
It's a bit of an odd one. I mean, they're still going to maintain all of their map control, though. That's the important thing for Mayan. You need to make sure that the TB is able to farm in these sorts of areas around his triangle. It sucks that they were able to take him down and actually putting a little bit of pressure onto the mid. Luckily, we can't crit towers because that would just make these objectives fall even quicker. But, I mean, the big thing for mine, the big timing for Neon, is this Blink Dagger being able to be picked up by Abeng, right? Like, we've been mentioning the importance of the BKB on Gabby. If he pops it early, blink in, overgrowth, wastes a huge portion of it, right? And then you have the potential for that turnaround, as well as, holding people in position for a TB to just hit. Pia mentioned it on the panel. A lot of the times when you pick a Terrorblade, you're like, look, just let me hit them, stun them, hold them in position. And the best hero to be able to do that is probably the Treant Protector with regards to this overgrowth.
Setting up bottom. What did the triangle saw? Neon pivoting down to bot. They're going to drop another observer, so they're scouting out Enryu. Car's going to be the first one to jump. Jing's behind it, but there's not really much a Hoodwink can do to offset the start from T1. So Enryu, an easy kill, and now let's see if they can get something out of it. They still haven't taken the tier 1 mid, but Gabby does have a double damage rune in the arsenal.
Big thing for mine is that they're not really expending a lot to get these kills to happen, right? Like, it's so important to be able to pick off this Dragon Knight, to get the Death Prophet, the TB when they can, before they get their BKBs, because I feel like once BKBs are up, you're not so worried about the Void Spirit, you're not so worried about the Sand King, but until that point,
I like this wrap.
This big window.
I like this wrap. Kuku jumps onto our bang, so he's going to have to use a defensive overgrowth, but the cooldown will be enough in conjunction with the Sandstorm. It's dire on bringing all of their numbers to protect the towers. It's almost like it's a half-assed attempt.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit that way, and, T1, they're going to suffer a little bit if they keep playing this, like, 3-man Dota, or you can call it 5-man when you've got the IO and the Gyro there with the relocate potential. But the thing is, I honestly thought that Neon would be getting the better part out of a lot of these trades, because if this is the way you're going to play, just like pick off heavy Dota, just play completely separately.
Carl, jump into the Hoodwink. They were trying to set up a trap for Carl farming the lane. Unfortunately for Ching, under vision, of course, with the homing missile. Carl's going to have a remnant up surely. Oh, what?
It was a clever play. He tried to use the sharpshooter to bounce himself back a bit more, but Remnant still got him out.
Okay, I thought he was just gonna jump on Enryu. Okay, never mind. No
relo, unfortunately. But yeah, like what I was saying before is, the way that I would look to play this, if I was in the captain's shoes on Obi Neon, is just say, look, someone's going to die because they've got really good pickoff, but just put the Dragon Knight, the DP, and the Terrorblade into different lanes and push all of them out. They can't defend all of them. Io and Bane suck at doing that, and if a Sand King or a Void Spirit reveal themselves to be defending it, neither of them have the boots of travel, so they can't just instantly join the rest of their team, and then maybe you can get an outnumber with your supports.
See though, BKB, no one asked us, so might be go time. You got the level 15 along with Avatar mode. just shy of his gold for BKB. Neon, first aggressive smoke we've seen from them in quite some time. They're going to look to put their attention over to Radiant's triangle.
Radiant are scanning.
Make their way past Astra as well.
Scan's going to
Ooh.
catch.
Dire are scanning.
Radiant counter
Smoke on
smoke
smoke.
themselves.
It's the power of this IO gyro. Still reveal a lot on the map while not taking away your teamfight presence. Who's going to find who? Not in Roche Cuckoo. Where are they?
We're going to see Whitemon. If they can bring down the iron, it's not that huge, but the counter initiation will not matter as it bangs in the overgrowth. A 1-for-1. Gabby with the
Fiend
BKB standing his ground, but they've got the Fiends from afar. Zephyr won't have a long enough duration, so Avatar Mode will be able to keep his life. They're continuing to chase Zephyr to the north. With the remnants of the T1 tower, it's Gabby battling versus Avatar Mode. And without the iron, there's going to be no escape for Gabby as DP easily chases down the carry. And Neon, they hit back.
Oh, they're tempted to go for this Roche, but no exorcism. Still just a little bit of that metamorphosis remaining means that they probably can't. My big concern is, yeah, you used a couple of BKBs on T1's side, but other than that, there weren't massive cooldowns committed. So I feel like there's this huge window for T1 to actually look to potentially contest Roche, or yeah, maybe just go for another kill.
That is definitely the concern about Neon's lineup at this stage, where the death timers still aren't crazy long. You are very reliant in popping these
Radiant's
long cooldown abilities and winning a fight off the back of that and getting more objectives, which we didn't see them get that fight. So T1, they still got some fuel to play with, looking to try and bring down Enryu bottom, but nice reactions. DK's out.
I mean, that's the power of the Aghanim Shard, right? You're able to push much more effectively from the lanes, get that valuable level 15 talent for the extra 400 health, get a lot of farm for yourself. And again, this is what I was talking about. Split up the map. Try and farm as many different areas as possible because T1 just don't have the heroes to punish every single one of you.
I think at this rate, Asta might get a faster Skadi timing than Gabby, which very important from both sides. Not only because of the range carries, but also on T1, just the Iro to minimize her sustain, but also Dire with the Dragonite's regen and the Death Prophet with the Spirit Siphon. So Skadi both for Gabby and Asta are very vital to the lineups.
When did Io become a lady?
Did I say lady? Sorry. Sorry.
You said her. You said her.
Ira's a confusing one.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, my friendly ball of light. I apologize.
Very good.
Radiant's top
Such a even game we have. 25 kills across the board. Minimal net worth lead on Neon, but whose shoes would you rather be in at this stage of the game?
I'd love to be in Neon shoes right now. Like, team fight and objective taking wins games for mine. Yes, you're very reliant on your long cooldowns to be able to make a lot of this happen, but didn't really punish that last one on T1's side, and because of that, DK's nearly got his PKB. Same sort of thing with Avatar Mode. He's nearly level 18 as well. You've got this top lane pushing in, which again is another very effective tool to be able to contest around that Roche, but if you can take that away from Radiant, just lessens the effect of the buyback and rejoin team fight. But that Aghanim Scepter is going to do a whole lot for Gabby, though. There's actually the other aspect as well, that he was slightly off the mark there on Abing. He didn't quite land the overgrowth onto the gyrocopter in that previous fight, so he still dished out a good amount of damage. This time around, I'm sure that's going to be his main priority. Just make sure that you can interrupt that big BKB timing on gyro. It's already down to 8 seconds, right? So you're going to be able to remove 4 seconds worth of that where you can't do anything.
T1.
Oh, talking to those BKBs, talking about that level 18. You got both of them on DK and the Death Prophet. So now it is go time.
I am worried they don't have enough damage to blow up Abaddon mode, especially with BKB now. I think it has to be the ideal initiation with Epi along with all of Void Spirit's damage. And without the Aghanims, I don't know if they have it.
Oh, the double damage in front of Roche.
course.
They're not going to do Roche with it, and it feels like while they're ready to fight on Neon, they've got what they need, right? So maybe they're just going to look to back up Asta,
Ryu?
who's just 600 away. That's a
They need this
little...
Skadi.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's a little aggressive. I mean, they could very easily just kind of like backpack Asta a little bit here. Just make sure you're playing around him. They're going to walk into the pit with the double damage. Oh.
He starts, but they're TPing instead of relocating, so there will be no follow-up, and that's both actual step charges on cooldown, so they're going to use this. And Ryu runs into Cuckoo. Oh, that's perfect if they can get rid of the Sand King. He might have to buy back for the Roche defense.
Even if he does, they know he doesn't have boots of travel. There's no towers as well, so it's going to be a little while until he rejoins, and they don't have the double damage anymore.
There's the buyback, but it's too late. They need
That's
a way
way
to
too
scout
late.
out Roche, but it's going to end up dropping with no contestation. Carl's in straight. Oh, a defensive Sunder from Asta. He's still going to lose his life down to the cooldown, but Avatar mode brute forcing inside the triangle, and they have no way to go through the Death Prophet. Exo Siphon, so much damage with the BKB expiring. Avatar mode still has to respect him at the moment. He doesn't have any more Siphon charges, but Gabby, he still ends up dropping the relocate just too late. Carl's able to clean up the Death Prophet in the river, but back to Ryu they go as Neon. They left the Dragon Knight, they fed him to the wolves, and in the end, it was actually an okay fight for T1.
More than okay. I mean, you're able to instantly take away that Aegis. Asta use the Sunder. You have to admire the team play, but I mean, after that, they did, like you said, just abandon the Dragon Knight and essentially say, well, you've got one worth of extra life now. Now you can't really do too much of anything, and well, Asta, at least he's able to get his life away, and you get the kill onto the gyrocopter, but it's a big cost for what I felt should have been a very comfortable teamfight victory for Neon.
I think for T1, you've got to be happy because also Carl just hit level 20. So he's got the spell amp, close to the Aghanims. Like, he could just solo kill Jing with ease, and that's the case. This is really scary because if Carl gets scepter, then all of a sudden, maybe you clip the Treant Protector, and all of a sudden that overgrowth could be delayed. Then it could help out with the burst onto some key components. So, you know, really, really important for T1 if they can get this next item.
Yeah, he did some really minor things so well in that engagement as well, making sure he was just far enough away from the Death Prophet so that she couldn't land the silence onto both him as well as Cuckoo, and prevented the TP on out from DP. So Carl, even though the laning stage probably didn't go as well as he would have liked, making up for it and then some.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
T1, who are the heroes that they have to bring down to start? Because we put a lot of emphasis on like the IO, and I think Cuckoo's jumpers hold that thought, and Ryu walk straight past Cuckoo. Of course, they can always bring Gabby along with Whitemon down. They're going to do just that. Carl's in the middle. Asta pops a BKB. He's going to stand his ground, but how do you cancel the Fiend's Grip? That's where Avatar mode's able to come into play, so Cuckoo gets ripped apart, but Asta still has to kite Gabby. A BKB soon to expire. They've already lost two, and I feel like Neon, they can continue on for more, but the control is the issue as Carl off to the west, and they will not catch up to the Void Spirit.
Great use of the overgrowth there, making sure to time it, forcing a defensive use of the BKB from Gabby just to make sure he doesn't die. And, well, that means that they're going to feel very confident in continuing to push down this bottom lane. You won't have too much left of the Exorcism, but still got a TB, still got Elder Dragon form in this tier 2 tower. You'll at least be able to force out the Glyph, I would imagine.
Radiant structures
And they
are
do.
fortified.
All right,
Is
so
that
for
Skadi,
T1,
though?
yeah, this is huge now. We brought up before just how important it is for Gabby. He did go Scepter before the Skadi, but he's still top of the net worth, getting so much farm across the map here with the Jari. He's even got the Sliver, and now level 20 to play with.
Yeah, and it's this position 4 Bane, right, where it feels like you're honestly not doing a ton unless you're setting up for these pickoffs, which I feel like a position 5 can do just as well, or you're getting that full Fiend's Grip off. And they've got so many ways to be able to cancel that out, right? It's not like he has a BKB, it's not like he has an Aghanim Scepter, it actually is the BKB that Zephyr's
lane,
going
Carl.
for next.
They're looking to burst down the Voids, but I think they're lacking the damage. Radiant, they are starting to mirror their movements bottom. Gabby and Whitemon.
Yeah, it would mean actually turning onto the Bane and trying to right-click him down if he does get that BKB.
Gabby and
Fiend's Grip
Whitemon
off.
are really split from the team.
Do they know that, though? That's the question.
Yeah, see a bench.
Cuckoo actually did just TP back towards mid. He's bought out an Aeon disc, by the way, on Cuckoo.
Okay. T1, who do they have to bring down at the start of the fights? Who is that #1 priority target that has to go?
Oh, it's so hard to say, right? Because you've got this this Treant Protector, which can have all the BKBs in the world and survivability and all that, but he just completely nullifies it with a well-placed Overgrowth. And I feel like, even though the first one wasn't perfect, Arbeng's been pretty on point since that. So I feel like if you can try and catch him out, it'd be a great deal, but they don't really have many heroes that are able to provide vision at this stage. Look at him, he's just forcing TPs, forcing rotations around from everyone.
He's doing a
And now they
beautiful
don't-
job.
Yeah, they don't have the glyph either, so they're just going to continue pushing in this bottom side. Ultimate's back up and available. Level 20 on Dragon Knight as well, so he's even tankier. He's only one component away
high
from being able
level.
to finish an Ags.
Is under attack.
Oh, Carl. Ooh. Just gets away.
Radiant's bottom tower.
2,000 net worth lead for Neon. We're going to be the first team to find outpost control now with that tier 2 tower claimed. Let's see if they want to smoke and sweep across the map where Radiant already set up from mid to top.
Dire's middle tower is under
And
attack.
just on your point again, just about like, who do they take down? Obviously, it's important to kill a core if you can. Probably not the Dragon Knight. He doesn't do an insane amount in a lot of these engagements, but, you know, Spirit Siphon, Exorcism, TB. But my concern is that they just don't have the damage to be able to do it. Or if they do, they don't have the chain lockdown needed to prevent them from being able to pop the BKBs and like Sunder or Spirit Siphon.
Yeah, maybe now with Scepter on Void Spirit, like that chain lockdown that you're questioning could be a little bit easier.
They still got
along with the
BKBs though,
burst.
right?
Very true, very true. So it's not official control. As they are moving towards the triangle, they've got really good vision nearby on T1.
Look at that. They instantly
Oh,
pinged
that's a
out Arbeng
huge
as well.
choreo. Was that all of the Aghanix?
Okay.
No, it didn't have the point
Believe
boost
so.
up, but Enryu jumps. Cuckoo with the follow-up. They're unable to bring down Car with the chain control, but Cuckoo's heavily committed into the middle of the fight. So an early pop of the Aeon Disc is still retreating to the west. It looks like Whitemon forced to relocate him out to safety.
Got Blink again on Enryu.
They committed a
Oh.
lot.
Did, and well, they're at least going to be able to claim the IO for it, but yeah, it feels like not quite enough. But I saw that instantly. Cuckoo, he pinged out Arbeng instantly. Like, he is the one that they want to be able to take down because you are relatively squishy still on this Treant Protector, even as a strength hero.
Look at this. They might run into Asta. They're in a prime position. But Asta sees Gabby and they will not run the same direction. I like T1 their read. They know they're down a man, but Dire used a lot. X on cooldown, multiple BKBs. You still have meta those. Cuckoo.
Oh, they found
no,
Cuckoo.
Jing.
No, Aeon.
Sees the sandstorm, so they're exactly where Cuckoo's positioning. Carl's gonna fly over the tree line to provide some space, but it's not enough. Cuckoo trades his life for Jing, and now Asta, he wants more blood as well. Can easily get rid of the Nightmare. The Skadi slow really an issue for Gabby. The BKB maybe allows him to TP out. They need to continue to right-click him, but instead, it's Carl doing the dirty work off to the side. Killing off one of the other supports in a bang. Carl is actually going back in. No more ultimate charges, but he's got the simulate, so he's okay.
And Carl is doing so much work in this. Like,
Sir.
you lose Gabby there if he's not right on top of Arbeng, making sure he's not able to get that Blink Overgrowth off.
Carl is 8-1 and 10 right now, having such an exceptional game. Asta, he's still got BKB. He's got a little bit of Metamorphosis still as well, but the Fiends group out. They need a way to
Here's the blink
cancel this. A bang, waiting the wings. The Overgrowth now into the Sunder, but without the meta, they won't have the damage on Asta. He's running to the middle, trying to find a target, but it doesn't matter. T1, they kill off the Terrorblade, and now they can get the remnants of Neon. It's Enryu, the next target. A killing spree for Gabby. And what a read for T1. They see a weakness. They sense blood. They knew Asta was alone, so they pounce.
That is the one downside of this Neon draft, is those long cooldowns, right? As soon as that Metamorphosis is gone, they lasted through a couple of seconds of it, but it was more than enough for them to be able to take out two important heroes with no buyback as well. This siege creep wave as well. Got to make sure you've got a way to clear it out, but with how well Carl has been playing, he's even hit up into his level 25 now, so that to simulate stunning, very important. Look at that. Even just making sure to nightmare the siege creep so it stays alive.
Oh, all right, we got a break in the action. We can take a breath. Carl says, wait. aggressive weight, but then the response in the lagging, saying, guys, there's a reason why as T1. I'm worried now, Danog, because if Zephyr gets enough gold for the BKB, the only way to deal with Fiend's Creep is going to be Overgrowth. And we've seen some exceptional Overgrowths.
Killing him, basically, right?
Of killing him as well. But we've seen Zephyr, his main target has really been the Terrorblade through fights. He's just looking to completely mitigate that BKB duration of the Terrorblade, kite him to the best of his possibility. And now it's going to put Bang in a really awkward position where he has to consider, is it worth overgrowthing just to cancel the Fiend's Grip, or do I wait for a better option like we saw prior with the multi-man ulti?
Yeah, you do need to weigh it up in two ways, right? Like, it's hard to say because Carl is playing so well, but I still feel like without Gabby being able to attack, you're not going to win a lot of these team fights, right? So I feel like that's probably the more important aspect. Oh, it's so hard to say though, right? Like, you just need to be able to pop BKBs, but then again, like with the extra movement speed that you've got from this IO with the gyrocopter, IO was holding onto the bullwhip at the time, but basically what I'm saying is if you could force out a lot of these BKBs, force out these big ultimates on Neon, you just need to find a way to be able to run, right? Like, you're going to be able to do it on Void Spirit. Bane can't. Sand King probably can. He's got an Aeon Disc. He's got the Yule Scepter. He's got a Blink. He's got the Stun. IO helps. Jara being able to run away a little bit. Well, maybe not now that he doesn't have boots, but you just want to be able to reset, have them waste those big cooldowns, and then look to re-engage.
Carl's level 25. Like, he's just doing so much for them this game. He's got the Dissimulate Stun. And we were questioning the damage on T1 and if it would be an issue, but now with all this economy that they've just gained, it's a Daedalus on Gabby. So all those damage concerns might be out the window.
Mm-hmm. And it's Roche. This seems like it's going to be the team fight that decides the game. Right before the tier 4 items, you've got all of these ultimates back available. You've just picked up your Aghanim Scepter finally on Enryu, so he's going to be able to soak up a whole lot more of that damage coming out, particularly from Carl, but they got to be able to react to this quickly because Avatar mode, he's just down here on the bottom side. Going to push out this wave a little bit.
I think you don't contest this. You need Satanic on Astar. Like, you bought out, you don't have buyback, you have to get enough gold. Okay. And I think you're fine. Like, you can go through ages. You've got long ultis in meta, in EXO. I think you've got a lineup that's very good at defending high ground. So, that's a fight where, sure, you could take it, but it's very difficult to give up Roche. Like, that is something that no one can easily make the call. It's like, all right, executive call, we're just going to give it up and bank on us winning a team fight down an ages advantage, because that's scary.
Yeah, for sure. I have to wonder if holding onto these spider legs is the right choice for the Dragon Knight now that he's got the Aghanim Scepter, though. I feel like maybe him and DP switching items would be good, just to provide that extra chase potential. And greater uptime of the Elder Dragon form. Because it's still so hard to burst through Enryu. Because he can get off that ulti.
I'm trying to... Alright, let's get in the Neon heads real... Okay, they're going to smoke out. So
I'm gonna smoke. That's what Neon's thinking right now.
I was gonna be like, let's get in their heads and see how they can take a high ground defense. How do they start the fight? But outside the base they go. Unfortunately, they will lose their ward, so they're gonna continue trekking down south to the outpost in their other ward.
You don't want to run into Gabby first. This is one of the few situations where you don't want that.
See Gabby, Cuckoo as well. Okay, if you get rid of the Sand King. Really valuable to the lineup of T1, but they are just going to look to prevent this. Carl jumping to the backline, but Gabby's falling low. Asta with all the damage, but it won't matter. Cuckoo flies over the tree line. The Burrow Strike giving a little bit of breathing room, but Asta's got an opportunity to pop the BKB, and he's standing his ground, ripping apart the life of the Sand King. Asta still has to be cautious. They're kiting Gabby to the west, and Gabby, he just hasn't been able to do any damage to the Terrorblade. They've done it. They've held off the Aegis advantage, and Neon now looking for more stragglers. Carl's got Astral Step up in a couple of seconds. To the right he goes. And he'll be okay. Wow.
Yeah, he's going to do his best to try and cut these waves, but it's not going to result in too much of anything. No buybacks, but Metamorphosis is running out. No Exorcism. Elder Dragon form as well, not there because DK was the one hero to actually die in that engagement. So look at Carl. He's having to do it all again, and
Carl
he does clear it out.
What? The ones. Whoa!
Jing,
Carl
jing,
pops!
jing.
Just like that, a sharpshooter enough to take away the life of the Void Spirit. He's been the man. He's been all of T1 to put them in this position. But now down Carl, you might lose 2 full sets.
Absolutely. You know, Bane can't do crap against this. Oh, I was about to say if that was an all chat, but just the team chat coming through there. Oh, man. Yeah, again, this is the tale of the useless supports. They can't do anything unless they've got the assistance from the rest of the team. Have to highlight it was a great overgrowth coming through from Arbeng as well, just to allow Asta to sit back and do work.
Keep in mind, this is a Treant Protector versus T1. They have exceptional Treant Protector players. Zephyr, you give it to Whitemon, and he is proving that Arbeng, he can play this to a very, very high level as well.
Oh, this is a cool pickup that Enryu's going for as well. He wants the Nullify. He wants to be able to get that Sand King and burst him down without the potential of him getting off that Yule Scepter or the Blink or the stun away.
They're coming out, but they're down Kyle. Gugu thinking about charging up the epicenter, the Burrow onto 2, but the damage has to be on point. Once again, the overgrowth cancels the Fiend's grip, and now Asta, he can start to rip apart the heroes on T1. Zephyr soon to drop, but they're eyeing up Gabby. They're eyeing up Gabby. A relocate out. He's back to safety. Now Neon, they want more targets instead, but they won't find anyone. Oh, no one dies.
Oh, it's a really good team fight attempt coming through, but well, it's still going to be a little bit into that Roche timing. I feel like you just consolidate, right? You've hit up onto level 25 on multiple heroes. You farm up your buyback, farm up a few of these next big items. Actually, honestly, on Neon, I wonder if it's... They're probably one of the few teams where you actually want to buy out a lot of the time, because if you're taking an engagement, you're probably going to pop your abilities, and if you die, even if you respawn, right, it's not going to result in much of anything. You're just not going to have that key team fight ability up again.
I think one thing that's been very difficult for us to get a metric of the value of it this game, but the living armor as well, just giving it to Asta throughout these fights. He also just got the level 20 talent, so the plus armor is huge, not only versus Gabby, but also a little bit of Carl's damage with the Void Spirit ultimate.
Okay, true. Carl just walks on past 2 bounty runs though. He pings them out. He realizes how important it is just to keep these waves as shoved in as possible.
It's backstab. It's a huge wraparound from Neon. Get confirmation. Zephyr is in an awkward position. That's a huge pickup. Going to be a lot more map control going the way of Neon now with the gem in their hands. Yonk.
They got double gem now.
Double poggers. Yeah, they do. Bang and then Ryu. You got level 25 on Astra as well, so he's got the Metamorphosis duration plus 20. And I think... What's he got? He's got Daedalus almost completed, so if you weren't already worried about the Terrorblade's damage, now it's going to be even more difficult.
Oh, playing with fire a little bit there. He's got the luxury of playing around this Tinker Ward on the left-hand side, but... And it feels so hard to try and clash into this. The one plus side for T1 is, if you die, they're the team that actually wants buyback, right? Because it's not super heavy committal.
Still down the Bane.
And they find Gabby. Look at Arbeng. He's way on the back lines.
Turn to Gabby. Carl's going to try and disrupt them with a follow-up on Cuckoo. The Terrorblade falling low, but Asta stands his ground. BKB Sunder out, and instantly Carl's in trouble. The overgrowth out to the southern side. Carl's going to be okay. Now you need to protect Asta. BKB's expired. Feet crude out. They don't have a cancel without the overgrowth. Asta gets murked in our avatar mode. He might end up dropping, but it doesn't matter. A relocate to the backline means that Gabby finds a second.
Oh boy, no buyback, and they've got 80 seconds to be able to push down these lanes. I believe the glyph was used recent-ish as well, so they're not going to have that potential. Avatar mode doing his best to try and put some pressure onto the other sides of the map, but T1, as of right now, just feel comfortable enough to push up onto this top side. What's he got coming out here on Kyle? It's like a Lincoln Sphere for himself.
Bang's cutting the waves, though. They are going to lack some creeps. They're going to have to go through backdoor protection, in fact, if they want to try and do some objective damage.
Very nicely done by him. And he's just staying in Viz the whole time.
It as well. So he's now with this wave, he's very close to the nullifier. So they will not lose objectives off the back of that previous fight, but all of a sudden this net worth now was pretty even. It was about 1,000 for Neon, but now it's back to T1 side with 7,000.
Dire's bottom tower
Oh, this would be really
Choreo.
key though. If Kuku's able to get up to level 25, you have that additional burst. What are we oohing about?
Not the nullifier! Oh, we bought out for it too, so Enryu doesn't have buyback.
You know that they're there, my man. And unfortunately, he just gets punished a little bit. But that level 25 on Kuku is so important, right? Having the extra... I would assume he's going to go the Sandstorm slow just to be able to heavily reduce the impact of these TB illusions in particular. Like, you can pop the BKB all you want, but the illusions aren't going to be affected by that. And even just having the E-Blade potential for both your own burst damage before the BKBs can be popped, plus enabling Carl even further, who, once again, is having a fantastic game. Have a look at him. He's going for a Wind Waker. He wants to be able to save that primary target that they're going on to. So Overgrowth won't have as much of an impact against Gabby, for example.
The blind's also nuts on the 25 Sandstorm. That's another big factor. Keep in mind versus the Terrorblade. So, see? Smoke up though, Neon. Carving their way to top. T1 playing by their secret shop. And Neon on their own high ground.
They know they're hanging around. They saw the Acorn tree put up there.
Oh, he sees them all by the outpost. Kuku's got the follow as well, just onto Enryu. Towards the west, Asta's trying to stand his ground, but it will not matter if they lose Avatar mode. It might be able to buy back to rejoin, but without the outpost, it's going to TP to the lane. Asta still, he's lost his BKB. He's got the Sunder. Can he land a target? Straight over to Carl. And Overgrowth keeping them inside the location, but Asta unable to right-click into anyone. They're continuing to kite the Terrorblade, but you're taking the fight into the lands of Neon, but it will not matter as Gavi, way too much damage. He'll end up dying. It's Avatar mode bringing this fight back into their favor, but Carl,
this will be a dieback.
Buying back in they go, dieback onto Avatar mode, and now Jing's stuck on the high ground. He too will be another casualty.
Oh, it's up in 4 seconds, this Roshan. Gabby's like, oh man, I wish it was there, but he just has a look back. They'll be able to find it out again. Oh no, they know he's here. He's farming underneath an observer ward here on Asta.
Oh,
he just fought back. Carl, can he do it again?
They're relocating.
2 seconds.
There's nothing he can do. There's nothing Asta can do. BKB on cooldown. They preemptive tip. The preemptive tip is they've had enough. They know there's no way they can stay in this game with the dieback on Terrorblade, and T1 will take out game 1.
Woo, what an entertaining game coming through there. Neon, I thought they had it for the longest time, but they dragged out the game long enough to be able to get that burst damage that they needed, playing around the vision. And wow, what a performance coming through from Carl. He was by far the best player in this game. He just did everything that they could have possibly wanted him to do. Pushed out lanes, did the damage, initiated when Kuku couldn't. It was crazy.
Crazy is definitely one way to put it. What a game 1 to kick off our last series of the night. Neon, they're really fighting for their lives here in Division 1. They need as many series victories as they can get just to stay afloat, potentially to battle up versus these teams in next tour. And for T1, they're looking to try and put themselves on top of the table. And with this game 1 victory, they are in prime position to, with this momentum, send it into a game 2 and continue with that. And then maybe 2-0 the series. But Neon, they did look really strong in this game 1. If they can just find the strengths and continue to utilize that in game 2, then who knows, we could go the distance. But there's a lot for the panel to break down. I'm sure they're going to love all the action that we've had. So we're going to send to a break, and when we come back, the panel will enjoy breaking this one down.